Hey, do you know your number? And do you know what I mean by that? Know what is your dollar amount and the number that you are willing to accept. If you do, that's great. And if you don't, keep listening. Regardless on whatever side of the scale you on, make for sure you keep listening so I can help you get one step closer to the bag. So make for sure you stay to the very end. I promise you I'm dropping gems all throughout this video. Welcome to Your Success Stories. I'm your girl Nika Johnson, and I'm gonna help you get there. I'm a credit coach and budgeting expert, and today we will be talking about salary negotiations techniques. That's right. In today's society, it's no secret that you have to work twice as hard to get to where you want to be. Men typically make more money than women, and white people typically are making more money than blacks and brown. Ultimately, make for sure that you live in the life that you want to live, regardless if it's that Mercedes that you dream of, if it's that BMW, if it's that bigger house, if it's get you one step closer to your vacation. Make for sure that you know your number, the bottom number, the bare minimum number that you're willing to accept, because that's what impacts the type of lifestyle that you live for you, your family, and generations to come. So I want to go ahead and tell y'all a little bit about a story time. To protect people's identities and to protect the companies, I am going to talk in generic. So I remember where I was working at one company, one corporation. There was a white lead that made $2 to $3 more than that black lead at once upon a time. So the reason why negotiating is so key is because that's that number when you're walking through that entry of that company and of that door. That's your livelihood. Typically, you're going to have annual increases. You'll have a merit increases. And how much is that on the pay scale? By the time that I learned how to negotiate for my salary, how to negotiate my rate, I already had left corporate America. So the skill sets that I have learned on how to negotiate, I have helped people negotiate anywhere from $5,000 more to their salary to all the way up to over $100,000. So make for sure that you're tuning in. Make for sure that you like it, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications and follow your girl. Make for sure you comment in the description and let me know if any of these help you, because I love to hear those success stories. Because remember, when you win, I win, we all win, because we in this thing together. So there was one situation that I have helped someone make $5,000 more on what the company was offering, because oftentimes they're gonna say, hey, this is our number, this is our max. No, typically they're giving you their low number, not their high. So never take that first offer, always offer more. There was another case that I helped someone that was a traveling nurse that I helped make $10,000 more coming in the door. Why? Is because it could take you 2 to 3 years. Statistics say, if you want to be completely honest, it could take anywhere between 5 to 10 years to reach to that ideal number that you have. So let's say, for example, your goal in life is to hit 6 figures. But if they're starting you out at $60,000, you know, as an annual salary, how many years is it going to really take for you to hit your dream number of making 6 figures? This is why it's so important to make for sure that we are negotiating right in the door, because people fail to realize you're going to get the most money when you enter the door. Because once you're in that company, you're only going to have those annual increases. One situation, I helped somebody make $10,000, and come to find out, they co-worker was with the company for 2 to 3 years and still making more money than them. Again, always negotiate. There was another situation that I had helped a friend negotiate $100,000 more salary. They was going to the ops. That's right. They was going to the ops, going to the competition. And so the dollar amount may say, hey, making $100,000 more than what you're making may seem good, and you be ready, you know, jump for joy. But we don't look and think about the total compensation. Sometimes it's not always green on the other side. Sometimes it is more stress. Sometimes it's more hours that you have to work. Sometimes it's not as flexible that you may have it. So these are things that we really want to make for sure that we're considering. Now, there was another time that I helped a friend negotiate. They ended up not taking the job, but I was really proud just to be able to use the skill set that I have learned and the things that I'm gonna teach you. So make for sure you stay to the very end. I promise you, I'm dropping gems all throughout this video. There was a friend that was offered $619,000 annual salary. Not $619,000 as an annual salary. So it was through text message. It was late at night. They was on vacation. This was really great friend, really phenomenal at the work that they do. And knowing some of the context of what was going on, I said, oh, don't accept that. I want you to ask for $700,000. They ended up coming over $700,000. So it was a huge gap of where they started to where they got to. The position was for global consulting to travel around the world international for this company. So in regards to that, is you never just accept that first number, because there's always going to be room for negotiation, even when they tell you not so. Why are people scared to negotiate? Let's be completely honest. You're not taught this. I didn't learn in school was how much money I should make. I remember early on my aunt like, yeah, how much money do you want to make when you want to grow up? I didn't know. Where I come from, making $20,000, that's what people was making sometimes just to survive. Making $40,000 annually was a lot of money. I didn't hit six figures until I start working for myself. So one thing I do want to kind of explain is that people could make six figures and still be living check to check. And you could be making less than six figures and living comfortably. So this is why it's important to know your number, to know what type of lifestyle that you're accustomed to. Why people are scared to negotiate? Honestly, they just don't know. They're scared. We're not taught. You know, we don't have those conversations typically of how much money do you make, because you should never talk about your income. But if we start debunking some of those myths, it could get us closer to bridging that wealth gap, to be able to overcome poverty, to be able to have financial stability and not be able to go from check to check. So there's been times that I have been presented with speaking engagements and I knew that it was not within my budget. It's not something that I was willing to do. And I'm going to pass that opportunity to someone that looked like me, to give them the same access and opportunities that one that may not have. And this is how we put people on. You know, I had to create a seat at their table to be able to build my own. I'm sending that letter back down to help anybody else that's willing to come up. But sometimes people are scared because when they're extending the job offer, they're scared that they will lose that sense of opportunity. Sometimes they're desperate. They just really need the job, so they're just willing to take it. I feel like it's really the unknown of intimidate some people from negotiating. Sometimes it's the lack of skill set, but that's okay, because that's why you're watching this video, so we can prepare you for the skill set. Why are people scared to negotiate? Ask yourself that. Like, why are you scared to negotiate? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it self-sabotage because you're questioning your worth? But you got the callback, right? You killed that phone interview, right? Your job skill sets represents that. You have transferable skills. You are more than qualified for this job. So quit second guessing yourself. Only you really know of why you're scared. Just some of the things that I named, those are what's hold people back. The lack of unknown, the lack of conversation surrounding salary, because we don't talk about finances. But if we debunk that and start talking about finances, that's gonna give us one step closer to bridging the wealth gap. That's gonna give you one closer to reaching your financial goals, to pay off that debt. Knowing that number is gonna say, I got $60,000 in student loan debt. I got back child support. That's bad. You need to sign up for budget success if you got back credit. But you know, if you have mortgage, if you have you know, your auto loan, whatever it is, it's going to get you to that one step closer to reaching your goals. Think about your kids, preparing them for extracurricular activities, to be able to travel for sport, to be able to put them to college. This is why it's important to know your numbers. Ain't nobody else gonna help you pay your bills. Ain't nobody else just gonna drop an opportunity in your lap sometimes. So you need to make for sure that you're advocating as soon as you walk through that door, because that's when you're gonna make the most money. But don't be scared when it comes to negotiation. You need to be confident. You need to do your research, you know, and make for sure that you don't just take the offer initially. Those are just typically some of the reasons why people are scared when it comes to negotiations, because they just don't know. It could be from desperate. They just need a job or opportunity, or they feel like that they won't get the job if they're asking for too much. Let's keep it real. What's the worst can happen? They say no? Okay then, but you tried. You're going to thank yourself for the opportunities that you took and not the ones that you didn't take. Why you should negotiate. There are several reasons why you should negotiate. How would you feel working the same job role for 3 years with no pay increase? Would you feel some type of way? Now, let me give you some examples of the reasons why you should negotiate. Inflation. Look, today's society, you have this technical recession that's been going on. You had COVID, you know, so many people had job loss or ill or out of work for an extended period of time. Never been 100%, but think about inflation. Do you want to still get paid the same amount of money for a year, but your lifestyle is constantly increasing? Does that make sense? Of rent increasing, if you're if you're a homeowner, your mortgage, your taxes is increasing, food is increasing. Man, eggs is $7. You know, the healthier you want to eat, the more expensive it is. From Trader Joe's to Whole Foods, buying organic, you know, if you plant your food and your produce and stuff like that, it is expensive. So why should everything else around you be increasing, but your salary not increasing? So think about inflation. Think about COLA, you know, the cost of living adjustment. Think about how if you don't negotiate, it could take 5 to 10 years to reach that desire. Another example is merit increases. Look, y'all, my last job, they did a 25-cent increase. 25-cent increase annually. I remember ABP told me I had the highest review in 20 years that she ever have seen. It was on a scale up to 5 points, and I was graded 4 point something. And they said you always need room for improvement. So to me, it's just like it's the cylinder. They always want to cap you at some type of point, because I can't just be good. I can't just be excellent. I can't just have 5 marks. You can say all these grand things that I have done amazing on, but then saying, oh, well, you only deserve 4.2, and here's a 25% increase. You got the most increase out of everybody else. What can I do with a quarter? What can I do with only a quarter? So you mean to tell me in 4 years, I can only get $1? In 2 years, 50 cents? Like, come on, y'all. Like, you have to negotiate. Or you can fire your boss, but it ain't for everybody, and I understand that. Just some things to be prepared for is when HR asks you for the expectations of your salary, make for sure you always ask for the salary range, because you want to make for sure that we're aiming the highest as possible. And let's say, for example, if they, because there's tactics, right? Like, they are trained to be within budget or to save the most amount of money or however. Like, I'm all for the budget, but not when it comes to negotiation. So one thing is ask for that range, and if they're not willing to tell you, ask again. Ask 2-3 times, you know. So basically, if you can't get that range, I want you always to aim high, because they always going to aim low. When they give you that salary number, they typically going to tell you there's no room for negotiation. This is the highest. That's why I would prefer that you have that salary range. You know, you don't want to be afraid to ask for more than what they're offering. For example, if they're asking, you know, if they offer $55,000, ask for 60, ask for 65,000. Don't be afraid to ever ask for more. Always make a counter offer. Do not just accept that first number that they give you. Listen, one thing I did not know was salaries are not the only thing that you can negotiate. Other things you can negotiate is your 401k, your sick time, your vacation days, your retirement. So how much are they contribute? Don't leave no money on the table. So if they're willing to contribute up to 5% match, meaning that your company is going to contribute 5% into your 401k, then you want to contribute 5%. You don't want to have a company contribute 5% and you only contribute up to 3%, because you're leaving money on the table. So that's what I mean by when I say that. So there's several different things that you could be able to negotiate. You could negotiate your job title. You can negotiate professional development stipends. So let's think about it like when you're traveling, or if you had a budget of $3,000 to attend conferences, workshops, and things like that. Or you can also negotiate different type of organization dues. So let's say, for example, if I'm affiliated or on any type of advisory or committees of organizations, I can ask, you know, you can ask your employer to cover that. Any type of leadership. So like there is leadership Omaha, leadership of New York, leadership Florida. Like typically it's leaderships of that state. And what you can do is typically it's about $2,500, but it's for networking opportunities and professional development. So you can ask your employer to cover those type of costs. So things like that. You could be able to negotiate stock options, gym memberships, sign-on bonuses, performance bonuses, remote working days. Now I know everybody's working from home now because of COVID, but when the world do become normal again, one day, hopefully soon, those are type of things that you could be able to negotiate. And that's a benefit because the freedom to travel. How is it working remotely on a beach? You know, to be able to be international and things like that. So those are type of things that you can negotiate too. Now, another thing is like, this is a jewel. Imagine for those that are in the military that is honorably discharged, retired out the military, they have health insurance, right? Did you know that you can negotiate health insurance with employers? What I mean by that is, let's say your employer covers so much of your insurance, you can say, hey, I already have insurance covered, so the amount of money that you was going to cover towards my insurance, put that into my salary. You could negotiate the percentage of where they cap you out of your commission and things like that. You could be able to negotiate your overtime. There's so much. I remember one time I was going to leave a job, and I just thought about it you know, in the moment. I was going to leave this job for another, and they asked me how much money that was going to pay me. So they was willing to allow me to work overtime so I can still meet that dollar amount that I was looking, that I needed to just be able to essentially survive and be able to pay my bill. But salary isn't the only thing to negotiate. You want to look at your total compensation. And when we talk about total compensation, what does that mean? That's basically your employee benefits. What is the perks from one company from another? What makes them stand out from other competitors? You know, so for example, there was one credit union that paid their employees $15 an hour, but they paid more into the retirement, they paid more into their benefits such as health insurance, so they making $15 an hour, right? Now here go their competitor, company B, but they pay people $20 an hour, but they gotta pay more. The employees have to pay more into our insurance. So the dollar amount may look like that they making more money, but what about when you talk about your take home? So this is why you wanna look at the total compensations, because yeah, the hourly may look good, but you need to look at everything on what they have to offer on those award letters. Salary versus hourly. Okay, now I used to think growing up as a kid, oh, you know, making such and such amount, X and Y, Z salary was a lot of money, or that like that was a big thing. It's not. I feel like it is a modern day slavery for companies paying people salary, because the truth of reality is typically when you're salary, you're working more than 40 hours. You don't get overtime. You're more prone to put in more work, you know, but if it's hourly, the company gonna see that every time you clock in, when you clock out, you're getting paid for all of that, right? So there is such a difference of salary versus hourly. Don't get so caught up as if you're a young adult, a youth, you know, or just someone that is navigating the professional world or climbing the corporate ladder. Salary is not always going to be everything. Talk to other people that may have been in that role if you know anybody, and ask them like how many hours did they put into it. Do the research, you know, in regards to the aspect, is because I don't want you to trick yourself into working yourself for a slave for a company that you don't feel valued, because when you're supposed to be off, you're really working. You may be working from home and your shift should be 9 to 5, but you're really working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You're working on the weekends just to be able to meet deadlines and get company projects done in a timely manner, knowing that you're not getting compensated for that time, but you have to get it done because of your workload. How many times can you negotiate? The answer is unlimited. That's right. There's not a such number of how many times you can negotiate. You can only negotiate in the beginning of that job process. You can't negotiate 5 years into that role or 20 years later. There's a such thing as called transferable skills. If you have a degree, if you got a new certificate, you know, if you was volunteering, picked up a part-time job, there are always room for negotiations. Even if you negotiate and you feel like you're working harder than what you intended, or your workload is a lot more than what you initially intended or what they describe it to be, contact HR and let them know, hey, you're ready to renegotiate. It's simply because you need to make sure you're getting your worth. Like, let these companies know that you're valuable. Just like you tell that man and woman how they could, you know, what they not bringing to the table that you could leave them, you let these companies know. Back in the day, they used to like look down upon people that was job hoppers, and I kind of was a job hopper at first, like 2-3 years, all right, I'm out, right? Because I would get bored, I would get tired, and I knew that it was more. I don't blame myself for being a job hopper. What I appreciate and admire now is that I knew my worth and I knew my value, because if someone's not willing to pay me, there's somebody else in, and I'm gonna go elsewhere. because honestly, it's cheaper to, how he's talking about like in the mirror, it's cheaper to keep her. That's the same when it comes to companies. What people fail to realize, the most expensive part of hiring and development is that training process. You're spending so much money on a staff, and if you're going through training and then they decide to leave you, you got to turn around and spend that again. Like statistically shows, sometimes if you go on average, certain companies could be spending around $5,000 just for training. You like the perks of eating out, you know, hiring, you know, all of this. So communicate with them. Sometimes it may be more to get more bread by staying with them. Ultimately, make for sure you know what number works for you. Know what number works for you, and you stick to that and you hold on to that. If they can't tell you why they can't meet you at your salary requirement, okay, when can we be able to review this? When can we re-examine? You know, be sure to know the why behind it. Is it because it's not within their budget? That's understandable. But is there other things that they're willing to work for you? Instead of working 5 days a week because you work 4 days a week, negotiate for you. Maybe working 12-hour shifts is better than working, you know, 8-hour shift. But you want to know your why. Ask the questions of, you know, do they value you? Do they know what you bring to the table? Do they know you an asset, not a liability? Do they realize that? Because if they ain't trying to pay you, go to the ops. No, I'm just playing. But before we get out of here, make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on, and make sure you stay tuned to the very end. Different resources that you can use at the fingertips to help you on your journey of negotiation during your salary process is Glassdoor, Salary.com, Indeed. Now this is a new one that just came out about 2-3 years ago. So if you're in the field of tech, it's called Levels, FYI. You got ChatGPT, you know, that's trending, the AI, but there's so many ways that you can use ChatGPT. Also get into them Facebook groups. It's so knowledgeable, like Black girls lecturing, things like that. Get into those groups and ask them like your location and what do you do. For example, I have seen plenty of times for nurses, they could say, I'm a RN, this state, this salary, just to help give people those ideas of what to really ask for. And it's gonna help you with knowing your worth as well during that journey. You also can look up your area or your region range for that industry as well. So that's something that you can do. And there's a book called The Memo. So shout out to the author. I actually met her. She was like dope as ever, you know, when I met her. And so a book called The Memo will be another good read. You could read the paper copy or you could do the audio book. I feel like I retain more information by reading the book. I did both, but the memo really helped me as well to be able to negotiate. So shout out to her. She helped me so I can help y'all. But just know that no matter what, okay, that always know your number. So just because you're in the Midwest doesn't mean that you can't ask for East Coast salary ranges. Yes, on the East Coast, their salary is typically higher because of cost of living. However, sell yourself, baby. Tell them who you are. Know your worth. And so don't feel like that because the demographic area of location, that because, you know, this company on the East Coast or on this coast, they pay this amount of money, and because I'm in the Midwest, that you are not worth that. No, you are. And just remember, at the end of the day, ain't nothing official until you got that in writing. Fact check that. No, did y'all hear what I just said? Ain't nothing official until you have it in writing. So we ain't taking no verbal confirmations just because it was on a phone. Yeah, they could offer it, but you better make for sure you get that black and white, that email correspondence right after that, so you can have that to protect you. Because we getting one more step closer to that bag. And before I leave out of here, another tip is I want to make for sure that you know that you can negotiate. We talked a lot about negotiations of coming through the door of at a new company. You can also negotiate while you're in that current role. What are some different tips and tricks in regards to how to navigate that process? Let's go. You can always change your job title. So you may have started with one job title. So for example, in the employee handbook, you know, if it's a union or things like that, bylaws, they may say with this title, this is the salary range. So sometimes a loophole around that is changing your job title to be able to ask for more money as well. Another thing is you can ask, who do you need to talk to for a salary increase and not a mirror increase? Because remember, when we talk about mirror increases, only happens once a year typically. So you want to do a salary increase because you don't want to get stuck how I was making 25 cents more every year. Okay. You can contact HR, so you can send them an email because you always want to make for sure that you have that paper trail of to protect yourself of it's time stamped this date and this time and who you reach out to, a representative from HR in regards to that aspect. You can always communicate with your manager or someone, a member of management, and letting them know and expressing that interest. So is that a team lead or is it a manager, is it a director? You know, communicate with them and let them know your desire of making more money and how can we get you there. What type of roadmap or strategy plan that they can create to get you closer to that dollar amount. Sell yourself. Sell yourself. So when you dating, you go tell this man everything of why you the catch, right? You go do the same thing to that job. Why are you the catch? Why do they need to hire you compared to anybody else that's interviewing? If it's you against 10 other people that applied for the job, you and 30 other people, why are you the #1 contender? When we talk about the draft pick when it comes to basketball and you got first round draft, second round draft, why should you be first round drafts? Sell yourself, sell your skill set, sell like how you help contribute to the bottom line. Talk about your percentages. Talk about how you reduce retention, turnover at another job. Talk about how much money that you was bringing in just by yourself, because they like numbers and they like the percentages as well. Always know your worth, baby, and add tax. Cha-ching! Use Google when they're offering that offer letter. You could put in, you know, how to accept this offer with this company, examples. Click on images and look at different examples in regards to that. You can also use ChatGPT, asking them to create an email template of how to respond to if you receive an offer through email as well. If they got, you know, if they called you, you could say, hey, thank you so much for the offer. Take some time to think about it. Don't just accept it right away, okay? Don't just accept the offer right away, because you want to leave some room for negotiation. And you also don't want to be like too happy. Like, you can show excitement, but hey, you know, thank you so much, such and such, for contacting me in regards to this job offer. I'm really excited for the opportunity. I just need about 2 to 3 days to review this. I can follow up with you by the end of the week. I can follow with you by and put a date, you know, to be able to put a deadline so they know in regards to that confirmation. And another thing is, don't be afraid to tell them that you have multiple offers, because you the catch, you are the prize. Don't be afraid to let them know that you have multiple offers on the table, because that can create a little bidding wars for you on your behalf, and we can make more money out this deal, okay? But ultimately, never just accept the offer immediately. Take some time to think about it and make for sure that the chips lies within your advantage. But before I get out of here, I just got one question for you. Is that in a budget? Take these tips and these tools that I provided to you on how to negotiate your salary techniques so we can make for sure you get one step closer to the bag, so everything you desire can be in a budget. All right, I'm out.